ate noodles with no packet. Cereal with the can.
Let's get back in it with Jiang, guys. Because he's our guy.
Again, we have reached a turning point in the war. It is possible that in a few hours or by tomorrow, we will reach the point of no return. Donald Trump has threatened the Iranians, saying that on Tuesday, if the Iranians still refuse to open the Strait of Hormuz, then the Americans will destroy the Iranian power plants and bridges and universities. Basically, the Americans will start attacking critical civilian infrastructure, which will force Iranians to strike hard against the GCC, the oil fields, the desalination plants, the universities as well. And this would mean that the world would lose 20% of its energy supply.
The crazy thing is that the harder the US hits, the harder Iran is going to hit the GCC. It's essentially, at this point, it's looking as though it's going to be mutually assured destruction.
And this would be a catastrophe for the global economy. It would deindustrialize the world and would create global famine, among other problems. Okay, so next few hours, next day, we could reach the point of no return in this war. Hopefully, Trump is bluffing because he has known to bluff before. In fact, he's issued many ultimatums to Iran before, and then he sort of tackled, right? Trump always chickens out, and he said, you know what? I said a day, but I'll give you a week instead. But this time, I want to show you that it's different. I want to show you that this weekend, the Americans went all in. They launched a ground invasion. It failed. And instead of saying, you know what? We probably can't beat Iran. Let's negotiate a peace deal. What the Americans will do is they will go all in now and launch a full-scale ground invasion, call a national draft, and the world will never be the same again. Okay?
If you're in America and they come and knock on your door for the draft, there's only one thing you can do. There's only one thing you can do. That's it. That's the only way you get out of this. I'm sorry, Americans, but that's the only way. You have to be unsuitable for war.
So this is a tweet that Donald Trump sent to the Iranians, and he calls them crazy bastards, and he says, praise be to Allah. So a lot of people think he is now deranged. Clearly, he's angry at the Iranians. All right. So the Americans and the Israelis have constantly escalated attacks against civilian targets in Iran. So Trump ordered the destruction of Iran's largest bridge. Okay? All right here, right? You guys see that? Okay, and this is considered a war crime because you're not supposed to target civilian infrastructure. Now, you can make the argument that this is dual use, meaning that the military uses it as well.
Yeah, you think Donald Trump cares about sort of all these rules that exist when it comes to warfare? I don't think the guy does, bro. He's clearly doing things that are against national security.
Well, but everything is dual use, right? Because the military also uses water. They also use electricity. Their kids also go to university. So there's a great fear now that we're already at the point of no return. And the Iranians themselves have promised to start to attack universities in the GCC as well, okay, in retaliation.
Damn.
So if Trump were to destroy
the Iranians attack the universities, why are people going to collect student loan debt? But I'm not sure. I don't think there's I think you get free university in these countries. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. If I am, let me know in the comments.
Iranian power plants. This would be devastating for the Iranian economy. And there's news now that Iran is organizing a protest where young people are asked to go to power plants and form a human chain so that if the jets come destroy the power plants, they will be destroyed as well. So some people think that, okay, this is the Iranians calling the bluff of Trump. That's not a good idea because in the first day of the war, the Americans killed 168 schoolgirls in southern Iran. So this shows that the Americans and the Israelis don't really care about human life. But by doing this, if the Americans actually do destroy power plants and they do kill a lot of young people in the process, what this would do is galvanize the nation into total war, okay? So what's important to understand is that throughout this war, there have been different voices in Iran, okay? Some, like the xCephasx Revolutionary Guard, want total war, but there are also some who are worried about the economic damage because of this war. They're also worried about giving too much power to the military, okay? But if Donald Trump goes and attacks these power plants, then the Iranians will be going to total war. They'll be totally committed to destroying the American military presence in the Middle East, as well as the global economy, okay?
Yeah, and they could do it so easily. There's really nothing that's stopping them. At this moment, the war is tipped in Iran's favor. So if they just keep attacking all these infrastructures, crucial infrastructures, you think Iran's going to do a back down? No, they're only going to get angrier, bro. If they already controlled the Strait of Hormuz, what else are they able to control? There's nothing stopping them, bro. They're hungry. They're hungry and they're doing it for God, for Allah.
And unfortunately, the Americans and the Israelis don't really care because they're committed to destroying Iran as a viable nation state. Already we're seeing increases in fuel prices, okay? So if you are in the red, it means that you've seen prices go up a lot, okay?
Damn.
If you're in the red. So America, Australia, they've seen prices skyrocket.
Bro, our gas
China has
prices
also
are
seen prices
crazy
skyrocket
right
as well,
now in
as well
Canada.
as Europe. This is only just the beginning. We can expect gas prices to skyrocket so much that it essentially collapses the civilian aviation industry, meaning that in the future, if you want to fly, it might cost you 10 times as much as it does now, okay? And this will happen very, very quickly. But again, the main issue, and I need to emphasize this, the main issue is not the fuel. The main issue is the fertilizer.
Yeah, but there's also the other issue of like, this is crazy. Yes, war affects the civilians that are involved, but not to this extent. This is crazy. 10 times X to get a flight to go somewhere. So now we won't even be able to get off the ground. We're stuck in our countries because of this stupid war. And then there's a lot of people that are advocating for this war to continue, which I find to be ridiculous. I think the only people that could be advocating for this war are either people who are straight up goyim or people that are super rich, where whatever price fluctuations happens, it doesn't matter to them.
And the fertilizer is important because you need fertilizer to grow food, and we are in the planting season. You guys don't know this, but it is because of fertilizer that we are allowed to support 8 billion people. If we didn't have access to fertilizer, we can only grow enough food to support 1 to 2 billion people. And unfortunately, this means that Africa and parts of South Asia, a lot of people there will starve to death. So the main concern is famine, okay?
Right, but also the thing that I find to be absolutely stupid about Africa is someone who has lived there. It is very, like, you can take any sort of seed and throw it on the ground and it starts to grow. The idea that Africa needs fertilizer, not necessarily, not to take care of its own population. It has enough good soil to grow crops and stuff. It's just that the majority of the people that are in Africa are not educated on making, like, being self-sufficient. Like, Africa is one of those countries where if they govern themselves correctly, they don't need to export anything. They can just chill. Lack of knowledge, really.
Not airline tickets. All right, let's continue. All right, so as this war is progressing, we need to step back and recognize that this is a global war. So the Ukrainians use drones to attack and destroy an oil depot, an oil terminal in Russia. And this means now that 40%, guys, of Russia's oil exports have gone offline, right? So what's happening is that not only is the Strait of Hormuz closed, but the Americans are also attacking Russia's oil, okay? So you have drone strikes in terminals, but also you don't see this in the news, but also there's basically a naval blockade. So if you are a Russian oil tanker, if the Americans come and catch you, they'll take your oil, okay? So this is basically piracy. So in other words, the American strategy before was, okay, before we were the world's global reserve currency, and as a result, we encourage global trade. But now that we are not, but now that our economy is suffering, well, let's just control the sea lanes, okay? So that's American strategy moving forward. All right, some major news from Germany is that if you are a German male under 45, okay, basically from 17 to 45, this age group, you are not allowed to leave the country for more than 3 months without army permission.
Damn.
This is a prelude to a national draft, okay?
Germany.
Why is Germany doing this? Because Germany is an industrial nation. And if
In America, the draft age only goes up to 25, 18 to 25, I believe, able-bodied youth. Germany goes all the way up to 45. Yo, they're saying like, yo, you're not old, bro. You're in the ripe age for war. Wild.
Russian energy supply goes offline, if energy from the GCC goes offline, Germany has no choice but to remilitarize and create its own energy supplies, okay? So Germany must go to war. It has absolutely no choice in the matter.
Damn.
All right. So let's talk briefly about what's going to happen over the next year. So as I said before, the United States was the global reserve currency. And that meant basically that for every transaction that you made with US dollars, they could tax you, okay? Because they could inflate the price of the US dollar. But now that people are choosing to opt out of the US dollar, for example, in China, people are buying more gold, right? And people are using other currencies. America, in order to maintain its empire, has to change its strategy. Now, the main source of American power is its ability to control sea lanes, okay? Because it has military bases all around the world, okay? So in the red, these are all areas with US bases. And before, it used these US bases in order to maintain global trade. But with nations choosing to opt out of your system, Now your option, now your strategy is to blockade them, right? Create a naval blockade, starve them of resources, which forces them to come beg to you for trade access, okay? So we've gone to a strategy where America guaranteed global trade to America basically being a mafia state, being pirates, and allowing you to use sea lanes and giving you trade access. Okay, doesn't make sense.
Is America the biggest piratry? Sea lane, everything, pirates of the water, pirates of the American coast? Are they bigger than anything we've ever seen? Possibly. Dear God.